Welcome to the Sound Meets Sound podcast. My guest this episode is Meerenai Shim, and we're talking about her fourth solo album, The Audacity. Meerenai is a flutist and, as you'll hear in the interview, also plays several other instruments, including the cello and drum kit. She's also the president and founder of the music label Aerocade Music. Enjoy! I always do this so awkwardly, but I'm going to try to hey, welcome. And I want to rectify an error I made 7 years ago, well, however long 2018 was when you were last on the podcast. I mispronounced your first name.
Oh, don't even remember that.
Oh, good. Because it's been weighing on my mind. So it's Meerenai, right?
Yeah, Meerenai.
Meerenai. Okay, cool. I think I'm not going to repeat my error. People can go back and listen to my hubris, just thinking I knew how to pronounce your name. So welcome, Meerenai.
Thank you, Meg.
It's great to have you back here.
It's awesome to hang out with you again.
Yeah. Too bad we did it in person last time, which talk about editing podcasts. That made it so much easier when we were just equal volume and all that stuff. But
right.
But yeah, California is a big state, so getting together in person can be hard. So yeah, we're here to talk about your latest solo album, The Audacity, which I'm so pleased that you chose that as the title of the album, because that's one of the songs that we worked on together. So, and I think it's just a great word for this era that we're in.
Yes, in all the ways.
Yes, in so many ways. So, I guess we'll just start. I wanted to start talking about the album, and then we'll get into sort of updates, because I re-listened to our 2018 episode, so I want updates there too. But
oh, okay.
yeah. So what sort of when did it occur to you that you wanted to do another solo album? Because this is your fourth one?
Yeah, this is my fourth. Yeah. It was when I was sort of trying to figure out what I'm doing with my record label. Well, it used to be my record label. Now it's our record label. It's a nonprofit now. It belongs to the people. But when it was my record label and I'm trying to figure out what I was going to do with it, I was like, it's been a few years. And then I was like, oh my goodness, it's been 7 years. No, it's been 8 years. And then now it's been 10 years since my last, solo album. So I was like, about a couple years ago, I really had to put a, fire under my own butt to get it out there, because I was like, time is moving so fast. I can't believe it's, so long. Yeah. And so that's why I decided to do it. Yeah, and I think I sort of wanted to do a slightly different album this time, where everything was, for the lack of a better word, because I am not I am just not a words kind of person. I am not an orator. I am not a Anyway,
you're a musician.
Yeah, exactly. I just do the sounds. I don't do the words. I, for the lack of a better word, I wanted something more accessible, something that I'd want to listen to for enjoy without having to think about it too hard. Something that I can listen to without in the car, so that I don't have to have a perfectly quiet environment. And for the most part, I succeeded as far as being able to listen in the car. Yeah. So that's sort of where I started. And then I really wanted to do the Steve Reich piece, Vermont Counterpoint. And that sort of started off okay, maybe since I have to go through so much trouble to record all the backing parts on this, all the, different flute parts, maybe I can, fold that into a recording project. And then, I asked you and a few other people to see if they wanted, see if you wanted to write something that would sort of go with that piece loosely.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay. So the inspiration or the vibe behind the whole thing was that
that Reich piece where you're recording like 11 tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that distinction. It's hard when you're talking about music at all. It's hard. But then, yeah, there's a certain kind of music that you can listen to in the car, and then there's a certain kind that you just can't hear in the car, or you only hear parts of it. You say you're not a words person, but I really loved your notes in the booklet, which the digital booklet that comes with the album for our listeners is super cool looking.
Thanks.
It looks like a little newspaper kind of thing. I love it. And yeah, I really liked your notes and Garrett Schumann's notes in the booklet. And I think you and he both talked about, I think it was in the Honourable Elizabeth A. Baker notes also about this idea that the studio is like participating in the recording. I should have highlighted the
Oh,
exact
yeah.
wording. But that, yeah, do you know what I'm
Hmm.
referring to when
Yeah.
I say
Yeah. Like the studio has, acts like an additional instrument, or the studio has a role to play in the creation of the piece, not just documenting it or not just capturing it, but like when you're in the studio, you utilize all those tools to contribute to the piece, contribute to the art.
right, right. So it's right, and like you said, instead of approaching it like, here's a piece that is fully formed and that I could perform on stage right now, and I'm just going to happen to be in the studio recording it, that you were sort of creating the pieces in the studio as you went along, like when you use the what is it called, automaton
Yeah,
in the
the
one piece.
automaton. Yeah.
So, okay, I understand that now. Yeah, that right, that sort of collaboration in the studio. Yeah. So, and from reading the notes, it sounds like, and I know for sure with my piece, this was the case where we had conversations about how you would interpret basically my pre-recorded electronic tracks that only the vocals were a live human being creating, and turn that into something that a living human being could perform all the parts, namely you. Was that the process, sort of? And we had a back and forth about the drum tracks and how that would be interpreted. Was that the case with all the pieces? Were you having these conversations with the other than Steve Reich, with the other composers?
To well, of varying degrees. Like yours was probably the most involved as far as like me having input or feedback on the individual like tracks.
Mhm.
Like with Brent, he, I just said, just write me a piece. It has to have some beats, and I want it to be, sort of. I don't think I even said accessible. I think I just wanted beats. And he said, no problem. And yeah, he said, oh, I found this drum machine that, I think it'll be great. And yeah, so his piece was the most straightforward, I would say.
Okay.
Like he wrote out the flute part, gave me the drum machine backing tracks, and one of the movements had some more, like, the artist had more choices because he said, okay, like like go through these different figures and however way you want, and sort of improvise and make it, the track is this many seconds long, make sure your thing lasts 5 to 10 seconds longer or something. So that one had a lot more flexibility, but yeah, for there was very little that I needed to do for his piece other than like my performance. But like um the drum part is so fun, especially the first section where he starts out by asking me to read something and speaking, which sort of sounds like a drum machine like instruction manual, and then and then the drum machine starts and it's like a um like a booming bass that you'd hear from like a passing car or whatever. Like, and yeah, and I wanted to just at the spur of the moment when we were mixing it, I was like, it would be really fun if my reading this pseudo like manual somehow like led into that low bass, and so I repeated the last note, last word that I was speaking, and then like changed the pitch of my speaking voice so that it got lower and lower and lower, and so that it turned into sort of led into the bass more. I don't know. It made more sense. It made sense to me at the point. So yeah, as far as like that's some of the fun stuff that I did in the studio for that piece.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
when I heard that, I was like, it's because you sounded so much like a, it's obviously usually voiceover actors doing it, but like an automated, please do, like like on the subway or whatever, like an automated
yeah,
instruction. And then I was like, oh wait, that's Meerenai. This is really cool.
yeah. I was doing my best flight attendant,
Yeah.
safety video speech.
After reading this manual, please keep it for later reference.
This album is really, you were allowing yourself to record, but also sit, in the mixing seat, I'm assuming next to Alberto Hernandez,
Yeah,
and say, oh, and we should, you were still composing in the process of mixing, essentially, by saying, like, oh, we should blend these things.
yeah. I suppose. Yeah, you're right. I guess could be a part of composing for sure. Yeah, and like on the Honourable Elizabeth A. Baker's piece, "Whispers in the Wind." Originally, the piece it's to be performed live, flutist plus live electronics. And so when I recorded it, I recorded two versions, one on C flute with glissando head joint, and then another version on contrabass flute, because she didn't really specify which flute, but when I premiered it last year, I asked her about it. Hey, you didn't really say which instrument. Do you mind if I use whatever? And she's like, whatever you want to do. And so when I recorded it in the studio, I did two versions, and it's not the kind of piece where it's easy to switch between instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think the next time I perform it, I will try to do that. So I just did the two instrument versions separate, and then I mixed the flute stems together, so you have like more variety in flute sounds. Like you get the weird low sounds and a lot of the high sounds, and it wasn't mixed all the way through continuously. I mean, just spots here and there. It was mostly the C flute version with some contrabass flute versions mixed in, and then I ran it back through Ableton to get all the live effects. Yeah, and I thought it sounded amazing.
Yeah.
So I sent to my flute stems and the mixed flute stem and the result and everything to Elizabeth, and I was like, hey, so I tried this and I thought it sounded good. Let me know what you think. And she was like, oh yes, that's totally awesome. And like I totally think, and she was the one that was like, I totally think that the studio has a role to play as as an additional instrument or part of the artistic process. And I was like, oh, that's why I love you, Elizabeth. Um, yeah, and so that's how the piece came to be.
Yeah, the whole thing feels very serendipitous because you start with this Reich piece where it's, he gives permission in the notes to pre-record, it doesn't have to be 11 flutists. It can be you playing with your pre-recorded selves. And then, yeah, she says, oh, it can be the studio plays a role. So it all feels like it all ties together very cohesively. And it also feels like I think you mentioned this in your notes, but all of your collaborators were very open to your input. It was no sense of like, this is my composed piece and you have to play it exactly, but there was a lot left open for you to decide and choose to do.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, with Brent's piece, there was very little back and forth until after he gave me the score. So it's not
Mhm.
like I had anything to do with before that. But I knew that he would be open to, different interpretations of his written score in his piece. With Janice Misurell-Mitchell, her piece, I think she, I think it was a slightly different process for her this time than the way she usually works. But she wanted to create a creatively mixed, edited backing track that I don't think she's ever worked with before.
Mm.
Where she doesn't do that much electronic music or anything. So she had a basic idea of like what she wanted to do with the piece and where it's going to go and things like that. So she wrote out some parts for me to record, and then she was going to play with those and manipulate those in different ways to make a backing track. And she also wanted to include Carl Alexander, countertenor, who was living in Chicago before, and now he's in the Bay Area. With and his beautiful countertenor voice. He recorded a whole bunch of stuff for Janice for this piece, and then she also, um, cut and you know did stuff with his part, which and then created a backing track. But she also, the more traditional notated composer that she is, she notated everything that she did on the score, so that I can see, okay, like piccolo's here, and then like that's how it works with my live flute voice and stuff. So there were some parts that and she wasn't completely finished with the backing track, but she did give me, her logic files and stuff, so I could see the score and the sound file, and so we more or less recreated her backing track, most of it, not all of it, because some of it was already mixed well and ready to go. Some parts I needed to tweak it a little bit, and so it was pretty involved. But
Yeah, it
I
sounds
mean,
like
but
it.
the vision was all hers. I didn't really have to have any more I didn't I didn't feel like I had to make more decisions about sound or anything like that. I mean, I did, pan things a little bit more thoroughly than she had it in her backing track, but yeah.
So thank you for that. Were you and Carl Alexander ever in the room together, or was he recording everything remotely?
No, he recorded in Alberto's vocal booth in his mixing studio. on a different day, and I couldn't make it. And so actually, honestly, I still have not met Carl in person. Well, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think Carl's his countertenor professional singer name. He also goes by Adore, which I adore.
Okay.
I think I love that name. So yeah.
Right. So, okay. Do you think there's a couple of plots rattling in my head? Well, first, I wanted to say with Janice Misurell-Mitchell's piece, did really like the hard panning left and right for parts of it. That we got sort of voices in both ears. I thought that sounded really cool. And so, yeah. But do you think you'll ever I know you said you performed Whispers in the Wind.
Hmm.
Do you think you will, or have you performed the other pieces? I know mine was written not to be, it was just
Yeah.
for a studio, but the other ones, like, would you and Adore ever perform this live?
Well, I wish that I could perform it live with Adore, but his part was so like as Janice designed it. There's lots of snippets of his piece.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if his part is live, performable live, but the piece was conceived to be performed live by one flutist with this backing track. So
I see.
so I will perform it live. It will get its world premiere September 14th at the Center for New
Okay.
Music in San Francisco, where I will perform everything from the album except your pieces, Meg. I'm sorry. Well, I am not sorry because they came out really awesome because it was conceived to be a studio recording
Yeah.
only, which,
Yeah, I'm happy about it. Yeah, I think to rework the pieces for live. I mean, this is the struggle I faced with the project Death of Codes from the beginning, is how to perform these things live. And I think you need to hire like or work with someone to run the drum machine. I think it's just more visually interesting if someone's doing you have because I've been to concerts of electronic musicians where they're singing essentially to their laptop and it's
mm-hmm.
just sort of like karaoke. And I'm like, it's just not quite as compelling as different people taking on the different roles. And yeah, what I loved about the way you covered the pieces, your interpretation was that you did it all, like the drum beats and the cello and all that. I think, and you couldn't physically do that live. So,
No, I couldn't. Yeah, no, and I had so much fun. Actually, that was one of the other things that I, wanted to do on this album was try to do as much of it by myself.
yeah,
And so you helped me do that, and yeah. So
yeah, I love it. Uh,
I love how your three tracks came through so well. It just it was just so much fun, and I had so much fun like playing all the parts and then having more creative licenses because I knew that you would be like open to me adding a random automaton into it, and
yeah.
yeah, it was really really fun.
Yeah, I'm so glad you had fun with it. When you sent me the rough mixes, few months ago, I was just like my face was like cracking in half. I was just so happy. Like I was smiling so big. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And yeah, I loved the automaton because I really wanted to get that for as if that sort of robot uh, video game voice in there is just so much part of the vibe of the track. So I'm so glad that you were able to do that with
Yeah.
such a whimsical instrument.
I know it's such a gimmick in a way, but um,
That's the song, though. The
yeah.
song
Well,
is, yeah.
it was an impulse buy, and I was like, "How am I going to justify owning this thing?" So now I can. I used it in a recording, so I
That's right. Yeah, it's part of your gear now.
that's right.
I use pattern in the VAW to it's like, okay, the kick's going at this beats, and then like a drum machine, and then the snare will go here, and so it's like it mirrored the construction of the pattern by recording each separately. So and it's so cool that you got it all to come together like that.
Well, I mean, I had to do that because my drum skills were not as good as, they were not good enough to pull off all the drum kit parts at the same time. So just as for the sake of my sanity and for a clear, sound also, I was like, okay, well, it'll sound really clear and crisp if, there's no bleed from other instruments. And so I was like, I'll just take it easy and do just the kick and then just the snare, just the hi-hat. And it worked out. I mean, I'm actually really excited how good the drums sound because one, I recorded it at home, and Alberto gave me some tips on where to put the mics.
Mm.
And then I took it with me to his mixing studio, and then he worked his magic on everything so that it sounds amazing. Yeah, so I'm really excited about how the drum tracks came out.
Yeah, I think like major props to you because miking drums is notoriously difficult. Even if you are just tracking one instrument at a time, it's like notoriously difficult. So that's props to you on that. But I imagine it also made it, yeah, just easier to mix because when you mic the whole kit and play the whole kit, it's you're dealing with so much bleed through and rogue frequencies. So and also like live performing beats that were sort of artificially, quote unquote, written in a drum machine simulator. Like there's very few drummers out there that can actually do that really well, because I kind of think of the kit when I'm building my beats, but I'm definitely not trying like to faithfully make it something that your average drummer could play. Like I'm like, oh, I want that hi-hat to like do that, and it's like because it was never meant for live performance. So I think the whole approach was very cool with that.
I don't know. I play with an amazing percussionist,
Right.
Christopher G. Jones. We have an duo, AB duo, flute and percussion. And so whenever I see drum kit parts, I never think of anything as not possible to play because he plays some crazy stuff in a lot of the pieces that we've commissioned. So I just assumed that of course a human should be able to play it. This is beyond my skill level. So
Right, but you work with like a really good percussionist, like really talented.
yeah.
Yeah, I assume he's like university or conservatory trained percussionist.
Oh yeah, he's a doctor, Christopher G.
Oh.
Jones. So yes, he's amazing. So
Yeah,
yeah, he could totally play it, I'm sure, no doubt. But there's no way I could.
yeah. Yeah, and I want to acknowledge that because I can't remember the exact sequence of things, but you had asked me I think you had asked me to write a piece, and then I said, what if I just turn my next EP into a piece for you? And then, but you also listened to early versions of the EP songs, and you made a few suggestions, like that piano part. I originally do 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 do. That originally was some sort of synthy thing, and you were like, "Oh, that should be a piano." So like that, it's interesting and you made a couple other suggestions. It was like very symbiotic, like because you were, giving me feedback, feeding into the EP creation, which then led to your piece. And then I I almost felt a little bad how many decisions I left up to you when I handed you, because I notated a few
Oh,
things, but I was like, oh, am I making her do too much work? Like,
no,
so yeah.
no, I really appreciated it. I had so much fun. Um,
Oh, good, good.
and actually, you did write um, enough to give me, things to work with, and then just enough, like left just enough things out so that I felt like I had a hand in the creative process. It was just a perfect balance.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Yeah, yeah, that was super fun, and I got to crack open my notation software, which I haven't used to use all the time, and I hardly use it anymore. So that was a lot of fun. It's like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
thank
I
you.
can still do this. I wanted to ask about Whispers on the Wind. There in Garrett's notes talking about the video score. I'm curious, which is meant for the performer alone to see. So what was that, and what was the experience of using that?
Oh yeah, so I asked Elizabeth to write me a piece, and then like surprise, when she was done with it, that was the score, it was the video. And I'm like, this is awesome because I've gotten graphic scores, but I've never gotten a video score. So I was like, this is going to be super. So yeah, and and it looks really cool too. So I was like, well, shouldn't So I asked her, like, should I try to find a way to show this to the audience as I'm performing it? And she's like, no, it's just for the performer. I was like, great. Um, yeah, no, it was really fun. She gave me a codex, a little information on what each symbol, what that meant in the video,
I see.
and so that I can play off it. And it's very like like a guided improvisation type video. So when these symbols come up, I play a sound sort of like this. Um, yeah, so it's really freeing, um, and it was also helpful. It's a different experience than playing a graphic score, like just a static graphic score, because the video sort of like helps me with the timing, and the pacing of
Mhm.
the piece. Um, and of course, there's live electronics that are supposed to trigger at certain points depending on what time we are in the video. Yeah, so she has field recordings that come in and out. There are some effects on the flute that you know come in and out depending on where in the score I am. Yeah, so it's like really cool concept.
Yeah, that's fascinating. It's like a much cooler version of like using a teleprompter, basically. Like,
Yeah,
you're having, yeah, and for me, that was always, not that I did it a lot, but that was the challenge with interpreting graphic scores is the timing, because you can sort of visualize it with the space on the page, but to have it kind of mapped out, for you, like it's like, oh, here now, this is how long now this is over. And I that sounds really cool. How were the like the field recordings, were those being live triggered, or is that like a backing track, or
I
like those?
believe they're a backing track based on the time,
Okay,
and
so it's all synced up.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's really fascinating. Yeah, I wish I'm so curious to see what it looks like. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I love the creative, like your artistry inspired all these really creative ways of, you know, making music on the flute. Like that's so cool. And of
Yeah,
course, flute and friends, many other instruments.
right.
Every time I see someone, like some meme or whatever online about, oh, like a contrabassist. Oh, I bet you wish you chose the flute. I
Right.
always think of you because you're like, I have so much gear.
Well, I mean, I made my own problems. So if I
Right.
if I just stuck to playing the flute, then yes, I life would be a lot simpler. But
But far less colorful. um,
I guess.
Not that the flute in itself isn't colorful. Yeah, I love that you play so many different kind of flutes. And Yeah, I think one of your recent round of like I guess you call them press shots, or where you're in the leather pants and you've got the instrument. You're looking very dramatic and cool, just like really badass. And I think you're standing. What instrument is that you're standing and it's like an instrument that's practically taller than you?
Oh yeah, that's the contrabass flute.
Contrabass. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, which to me is just like I can't even imagine having enough air to play that. This is very cool.
Yeah, it's a difficult instrument to play loudly. You can't really play loudly unless you're playing in the high register, and even then, it's not that loud. Which is
Right.
like you see such a big instrument, you think, oh, that must sound amazing. But unfortunately, it's not like the bass saxophone or something, or contraforte or um,
Right.
contrabassoon, where like the bigger the instrument, the more amazing it is. And on the flute, like the bigger the flute, it's like the more gentle giant.
Right.
They're like more
Right.
more soft spoken, and you know,
Right.
I mean, you can get some really cool sound effects out of it, which is awesome. Like if you play it more percussively. Um, but as far as like playing beautiful melodies and stuff, you can play beautiful melodies. They're just really quiet unless amplify it, which
Right.
often it is amplified.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess I am thinking of like the loudest flute-ish instrument is the piccolo, and then it gets
Right.
gradually quieter.
Yeah,
The
totally.
alto is very mellow, and yeah, yeah, that's oh, come on, Meg. Hold on. Oh yeah. The glissando head joint, which that's like did Robert Dick invented that or
Yes,
are you?
invented by Robert Dick. Yeah.
Yeah. Um I was looking at pictures of it, but I couldn't quite figure out like how does that work and like yeah, I guess I'm just curious what the experience is playing with that.
It's like if you um, put a slide whistle in the
Hmm.
where the head joint goes, sort of, it's a similar kind of idea where it has approximately, like, you can go up to or down to or up to a minor third in pitch shift.
Okay,
Not
gotcha.
for every note. For a lot of notes, you can go as far as a minor third.
Mhm.
Some notes, not quite. Um, yeah, and it's got little wings on the sides of the on the embouchure plate, so that it's you keep it on your face by these wings, that like metal wings that come and like hug your cheeks, so that like
Um,
when you pull the flute down or up, you don't. I mean, you don't have to move your head. You can if you want, and so that's how it slides up and down.
I see. I see. That's cool. Yeah, I saw a picture of it, but I couldn't quite, or of him playing it, but I couldn't quite figure out. It's interesting what you just said because that kind of leads into one of the catch-up things I wanted to do from our last interview, because you said you can move your head or not,
Hmm.
is the whole Feldenkrais thing. When we talked 7 years ago, you were still taking classes, but now you're like a fully fledged Feldenkrais practitioner, right?
Yeah, yeah. I finished the training. Yes, I remember that. I had come to your house to record that time, like right after Feldenkrais training session, like when I was training to become a teacher. Yeah, now I am a guild certified Feldenkrais practitioner, and it's it's been a difficult to balance everything that's going on in my life. Like I really love Feldenkrais. I love teaching it. I love participating. I love doing it, but there's only so many hours in the day, and I feel like I can't focus on everything at the same time and give it the attention that they deserve. So right now, I am still teaching Feldenkrais classes, like just online, every Saturday morning. It's online, so anyone can join from wherever that you are in the world. Most Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And occasionally I have in-person one-on-one Feldenkrais clients that come, and I help move them around.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not my main focus at the moment. But I do love working in that world. So yeah, I mean, I was trying, yeah. So it's just a smaller part of my life than I thought it would be.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I totally get the whole balancing, and yeah, certain things sort of go out of focus and other things come, because it is just literally impossible to have it all in focus at the same
Yeah, totally.
time. And well, yeah, because the other thing that changed between then and now is that Aerocade is now is it 501c3? Is that what the
Yeah, yes, it's a
yeah.
fully fledged nonprofit, which is amazing because I feel like now, it's set for the future. I mean, not completely set, like, hey, if any billionaires are listening and want to help us start an endowment or something, that'll be awesome. But for now, I just know that, like with the awesome board of directors that we have, that there will be some kind of a future for it, hopefully for a long time, to serve a lot more artists.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. You're kind of future proofing it, so to speak, because it's not just all on you now, but there's a group of people involved in it. Speaking from my own experience, my failed attempt at which is fine, it worked out for the best, to start a 501c3. My experience was that it was very difficult, and the hoopage, the hoops
Mm-hmm.
that I had to jump through was very daunting. And I was basically doing it by myself. Like, was that really, were you doing it by all that by yourself? And was that really hard? Obviously with a lawyer, but
Oh yeah. Well, I was, and I still am. Like all the day-to-day stuff, I am responsible for. I am not paid, executive director
yeah.
type, and sole administrator basically. But Brent Miller, who's our treasurer, has been really helpful with doing the QuickBooks stuff and things. And that, yeah, and when I was starting the nonprofit, doing the nonprofit formation, I found a really awesome law firm that only does nonprofit law, which was amazing. And they just charged a flat fee for nonprofit formation, which is also amazing, which is like quite reasonable compared to like regular law firms. And so, yeah, they were just so good at what they do and just helped me set it up so smoothly. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff that's like, what? There's so many hoops, so much paperwork, so many forms, so many things I have to file. But I feel like it's easier to do when there's a board that I'm responsible to to answer to, and yeah, things like that. So,
Yeah. Having knowing that there are other people out there waiting for things to happen, or
mhm.
expecting things to happen, is like, it's amazing what a motivator that it's. Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. And do you have like a release schedule? Or I know you just released the South Dakota Winds,
Chamber Winds of South Dakota.
Chamber Winds of South Dakota.
Yeah, so because our label is so small, we can only do 3 or 4 releases per year. And so that was our first release. So mine is coming up next month. And then we have a release by Nicholas Lil Benavides. And then we have a release by the Honourable Elizabeth A. Baker. So that's for the rest of the year. So it's September, October, November. It's busy fall for us. And then next year we have another 4 ready, like on the schedule. Yeah. So
Ooh, wow. Wow, so you've got, yeah, you have 8 releases in the next 2 years. That's, or, starting from this other one. That's really cool. Just looking at my notes, but yeah, that's a lot of work too. Like, no
Yeah.
wonder the Feldenkrais kind of had to, become smaller in the whole pie, because I can't imagine, especially if you're doing most of it. That's
Yeah. It's a lot. Like this year, I was like, oh, I think I want to go back to like freelancing more and playing more like normal flute stuff. And that was the plan. But then I just got too busy with Aerocade stuff and all these releases and recording my album.
yeah.
So maybe next year. Okay, so yes, I have an album release concert September 14th at the Center for New Music in San Francisco. If you want to sign up for my mailing list or the Aerocade music mailing list, you can just get that on our websites. Um, let's see. Please download and buy my album because everything, all the sales from this album is going directly to Aerocade. I am not keeping any of it. All
Ah,
$5 will be donated to Aerocade. So please make the $5 $10.
I like that.
um, and if you're going to stream it, you can stream it on Spotify, but don't stream it on Spotify. Stream it somewhere else so that we can get our 0.02 cents instead of 0
Yes.
cents. Yeah, and you know, a plea for anybody and everybody. If there's music that you like from your colleague or friend, and they're not a big name, major recording artist, or not even a recording artist, if you know of any people that you think are doing a good job in whatever they're doing in all the arts, whether it's visual or dance or music, share it with other friends, because right now it's also very difficult to get the word out there through traditional media or social media. So it's a word of mouth that is still the most powerful tool that we have to share our arts. So please share. If you like it, share it.
I love that. That's an excellent outro. And yeah, if a friend, continuing into the urging the listeners, like if a friend shares music with you, please listen. I so often I'm like, you got to listen to this band or this song, and it's like when people recommend books. Except with music, it's so much easier to do than sit down and read a book. Like,
That's
please
true.
listen to it.
Hey,
Yeah.
oh, and on that thread, I will say my album is really easy to listen to because it is, for the most part, one of those things that you can just leave on while you're doing the dishes. You won't miss that much, I promise.
I love it.